Okay, day 171 of the cut. Was very excited to report that I actually felt pretty good today, but then as soon as I started moving on my warm-ups, it was like a freaking wall of tiredness hit me. And I mean, best explanation for that is 100 grams of carbs total on training days, with only 50 coming before the session, isn't a lot of food to be having. But I mean, good news is that we're deep in the suck it up and continue cranking phase, which means that we're pretty close to being able to put food back in. I absolutely cannot understate how much I'm looking forward to that day right now. Also, reluctantly wearing the Notorious Lift deadlift shoes again. Got the insoles out, so hopefully they're less squishy than last week, but with how I feel about the squat shoes, I really feel like I should be boycotting this company, so I need to be on the hunt for something else to pull in. Which at this point is likely just going to be investing in some shoe glue so I can put the Reeboks back together. Plan here for pulls. We're on the 3-week of my custom modified 5-3-1 setup. Haven't looked at what I'm doing loading wise yet, but goal here today is to do a better job with what we figured out last week in terms of that hard lat in with the hook grip. Two plates feels like 2 plates, so we'll go up, then check loading for the day. And I think the thing that I hate about these shoes the most is actually that I like how the white looks, and it makes me sad that they don't feel better to pull in. Anyways, 3 reds here, and it is time to wake up and not suck so I can make my work sets good. And it's like, even with the insoles out of these things, the rubber underneath is still squishy enough that there's more give that I want. So with my next meet being RPS and them being okay with deadlifting without shoes on, I think I'm just gonna not deadlift with shoes on for now. Anyways, getting my program pulled up in the team app. Looks like we are gonna be running 470 for 3, 495 for 3, optional AMRAP at 525. And I am so stoked with the team's program app because it's not just my sad, dilapidated diet state programming in there. We've got 3 weekly updated program streams going on right now, with each of those streams targeting a different lifter type. Plus, we've got a ton of standalone meet prep and off-season options. But the goal isn't to be just like, here's the program, follow it exactly as written. The goal is to be able to use the community in the team so you can post all your lifts, get individual coaching from me on every single thing that you're doing, so that I can help you tailor the programs to better fit your needs, which is all but going to guarantee that no matter what you're stuck with, what is holding you back in training, we're going to be able to figure it out so that you can make better progress than ever. Like, we got Chris here who's competing this weekend. When he signed up, low back was jacked up, shoulders and elbows were jacked up, everything kind of sucked. No offense, Chris. But he did his job, posted a ton of lifts, was able to get help on every single thing he's doing, and right now he's set up to put a conservative 100 plus pounds on his total. So hit the link below, sign up for the team. It's free for the first week, so you can see how good it is. Should have said this before the notes got in, but anyways, 470. Yeah, those shoes are dumb. And I know that I am obviously guilty of this right now, but it's like everyone's always looking for new kit, hoping that it's going to make a huge difference in how their lifts feel. And reality is that as long as your shoe fits, it's probably going to be working good enough as is. And the shitty thing is that even if you're looking for a shoe to make some sort of really big difference, best case, it's not really going to change anything at all for you. And worst case, like I just experienced, the shoes make everything much more terrible. Unless you're currently squatting or pulling in Notorious lifts, get rid of those things by any means necessary. And I don't know why I gotta keep repeating myself when I say this, but powerlifting equipment manufacturers, powerlifting shoes should not be squishy. Like, what's the first thing everyone tells a guy that's new to squatting and deadlifting? They're doing it in runners, their feet are squirming all over the place. Pull the shitty squishy shoes off so you can anchor your feet better to the floor. So yeah, I've got zero clue why these shitty squishy things even exist. Anyways, 495, work set number 2, coming right up. Am very excited to be able to drive through my toes hard on this set. And I think the coolest thing about being barefoot versus in those shoes is that I actually have the confidence to drive through the front of my foot hard, which is letting me get more knees to the bar, which is letting me get more legs back in my deadlift. So much better than last week. This is going to be the last thing I say about those shoes, but holy guacamole, do I hate them. And off of that, should be more than good to go for top set. So 210s aside, should make 525 with my stupid pound plates that look like kilo plates here. Considering how it's feeling today, if they're schmoving, I'm gonna take that optional AMRAP. I don't know, maybe not a true AMRAP, but we're aiming for at least a couple of bonus reps here. And after last week's 495, pretty freaking stoked with that. I think like the only problem there is with the more forward knees, like I'm not used to being able to get much of that quad in there, so I need to be more conscious of flexing them harder sooner, but that is a freaking easy fix, so we're gonna be able to make it just fine. Also, clearly did not learn my lesson last week with stiff legs, because once again, we're going straight to 3 reds. But I mean, should be in a little bit better shape for these after last week's exposure. Don't got the squishy ass stupid shoes on, and I mean, FAFO, gotta get stronger one way or another. Every part of me does want to go up for set 2, but based on last week's overshoot, I think 1 FAFO is enough for today. Goal for set 2, not have an egregious amount of fall off of set 1. Also, need to do a good job of using my quads to let the hips lever on through. Camera died that set. Saw the low battery indication as I was setting the straps and figured I'd had time to crank it out. I don't know how much recorded, but I swear I got 10 there, and I swear it didn't suck too bad. Anyways, we got the oh so glorious, albeit very well used Reebok Legacy lifters back on with the soft sleeves, because we are gonna go crank on some vertical leg press again. And I will admit, I'm unsure on whether or not this thing is the best thing I could be doing with the slot, but this thing is always open, whereas the other leg press isn't. And even if I do really like what the pendulum feels like, I'm not sure if it's the best thing I could be doing strength curve wise for my deadlift. So we are gonna fold ourselves up like a pretzel until I figure out something potentially better to do here. At least I kind of got it figured out where to put my feet, so it's slightly less terrible than last week. And target here, same rep range as a stiff leg, so shooting for pretty cranked 8 to 10. I think this is just going to be another feel out positioning and make sure that it doesn't feel too sketchy kind of set before we go up. I will say though, having the stable platform shoes is a very nice upgrade from last week. Thinking 3 should be more than good to go. If it does feel too easy, we'll rock it after a couple and go up. If not, we'll crank. Going up it is. Just quarter though, nothing too crazy. Plan here is to just commit to the set, go through the rep range. If it does feel too easy, we'll go up for set 2. If it feels like we're overshooting, we'll stop before we die. Because I mean, with how this thing's set up, the risk of death feels very real. And I think that's about appropriate to stay here for number 2. And I think like the thing that I'm the most not sold on with this machine is that no matter where I'm setting up or how I'm positioning things, like I just run out of room to go lower in the bottom. But the other leg press, even though it is calling my name, I'd have to wait for like 45 minutes to be able to use it. Even if this thing isn't perfect, it's still hitting the quads pretty damn hard, difficult in the right point of the range of motion, and it's like optimal is overrated if optimal requires you to wait 45 minutes and good enough is sitting right here. A little bit gross there at the end, but I'm very okay with it. And that's that for today's quad touching, so now on to butt cheeks. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little short band back there. I don't know where to keep the band, so I'm just going to keep it on. And plan here is to see if we can match last week's loading with the band tension. You know what? We can probably go up for set 2. And if you're wondering what this thing feels like, imagine a bent knee back extension on a glute ham raise, except because you can lock in way harder, you can load it way heavier, and then make it way more fun. Slap the quarter on the end, which should be appropriate. Maybe a little bit of an overshoot in hindsight. Whatever, not worried about it. And what I'm thinking right now is running 2 Nordic curl slots in 1 week. I do need to make my hamstring stronger, but I think the problem is that they're just too out of shape in the current moment to be able to sustain that. So I think we're going to give this GHR a try, and looking at it, I suspect that it will be far from perfect based on the pad angle, but considering how I'm feeling, that might be a good thing for me. Totally guessed on where to put the foot plate, and I'm actually surprised that it feels kinda decent lengthwise. Oh, that was a little scary. Yeah, I hate this thing, but it's easier than Nordic curl, so it'll let me accumulate some similar intent hamstring volume here, so we shall crank. The pad is really sharp on my knees when I curl up, so I don't love that, but it'll do the trick. Not gonna lie, I am a little bit ashamed of how few reps I got there. I think the saving grace of this thing is that even if the pad angle isn't that sweet, sweet Elite FTS goodness, the pad is both not round enough and squishy enough that it still feels decently hard. And as always, trying to keep the rib cage pulled down, leading by trying to push the bottom of my low back arch up to the roof to make sure I'm not cheating too hard with spinal extension. And she's already feeling plenty juicy. Yeah, way freaking harder than I expected when I first saw this thing. Which I'm stoked on because even if the pad is kind of hurty on the quads, means we got at least a half decent GHR option we can crank on. Speaking of cranking, now time for the greatest cable row variant of all time. Bonk my head a little bit, less bad than the last time I ran this, but making use of the prime handle for no reason other than that it makes the handle a little bit longer, so the mounting and dismounting of this sucker becomes a little bit easier. But the reason I love this thing so much is it's so intuitive to pull into a huge amount of spinal flexion, then trying to arch your chest through as you row. And the feeling you get in the low lats is just saucy. We'll go up for real work sets here. And what's funny about running these right now is today on Instagram had some kid that's not even a beginner arguing with me about the face pull reel that I posted, saying that the way they're doing face pulls isn't targeting the rear delts any better, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, motherfucker, I ain't doing face pulls for rear delts. I'm doing face pulls to help pull everything in to set my squat shelf. And his comeback was, well, you'd be better off doing a row with flexion then than a face pull so you can load it more. And it's like, dude, I do train rows with flexion, but the thing about this kind of row is it's not super specific to the intent that I want to have on the squat, and that's why I run that style of face pull. But the thing that this is really good for is upper back intent on deadlifts, and that's why I'm running this on my deadlift day, you know? We'll go up a little bit for set number 2. Also, can I go through a vlog without swearing at some dipshit in the comment section challenge? Failed once again. And don't get me wrong, I really do appreciate those of you guys in the comment section who are not idiots, but it's like if a dude isn't even going to listen to what I'm talking about and then going to try to argue based on assumptions that he got from not listening, it's like, mother, insert angry goose noises, come the bleep on. Trying to keep her a little bit more family friendly to the tail end of the vlog. I thought being a little bit pissed off would let me get away with being aggressive on loading, but apparently it didn't work. Closing her out with some Smith machine side bends, and because I feel less dead than last week, we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with the loading. As always, making sure we're maintaining full hip extension, getting that nice lateral flexion, pulling all the way through, packing down on the opposite side of the handle, making the obliques feel nice and juicy. In all reality, probably could go up today, but knowing that we still have next week, gonna save it for next week. And I don't know if you guys saw the video that I put out today on why I don't train beltless, but the thing is that if you can crank ab work hard outside of squatting and deadlifting, you will be able to push them harder than you could in a squat and deadlift. And then when you go to brace, your brace will be more stronger than if you didn't do ab work. I thought that made more sense in my head, but Working hard, so hard to talk. I mean, just go watch the video that I put out today, or I guess yesterday if you're watching this when this video came out. Ran a second set there, didn't record it because brain not working very good at this point, and I wasn't sure what I could say to add to the vlog. But I am in utter disbelief with how well those pulls went. Like, with how I'm feeling on the current calories, like, it's shocking that I'm still able to crank this hard in the gym. And I think that all I can really give credit to that for right now is, well, number one, the way Justin is setting up the carb cycling plan versus how I was doing it. It does feel a lot more manageable around training, having the little bit of carbs I have, like, all squished around it, so I do have some energy for the session. But the other thing is like, the thing that I always talk about, the whole, no matter how you feel, just go in, do your freaking best, put effort in, and make the session productive. Like, if I just slacked off because I felt bad months ago, like, I would suck right now. And not that I don't suck right now, because I really do suck a little bit compared to my usual standard. But the thing is that I suck a whole lot less than I should, considering how I'm feeling, considering where body weight is. Because again, like, the last time I was anywhere near this body weight range, like, I was so freaking weak, so cratered. I didn't even want to touch a barbell because things felt so bad. And like, a couple months ago, like, I kind of was thinking about doing that. Like, there was a little bit of a period where I was moving around, moving away from acting like a power lifter. And I think, like, what I realized during that little bit of a period, little bit of a deload, is like, hey, I can just set up my accessories better. I can find a way to be more productive. I can find a way to get more out of what my body's giving me. And the fact that strength is coming back this deep into a cut, like, it's just proof that making training productive, putting in the right amount of effort, like, it's what you need to do. And that's the biggest thing that I'm always trying to drive home in the team, is that, yeah, sure, you might be shittered, you might not want to do it, but like, there's a lot of things in life that if you want a certain result, it doesn't matter if you want to do it, you need to put the effort in necessary to get yourself there. And that's one of the things that I'm the most stoked on with the team, is that because I have so many lifters who are stuck, who are struggling, who are in a position where they feel like they can't get better, and because we've been able to help so many people pull themselves out of that position, it's like, when I'm telling the guy, like, hey, it doesn't matter that you were too tired to run your accessories today, find a way to make accessories productive. And because I have literally hundreds of people in there who have been through that, have been told those hard lessons, they can back me up, they can encourage the guy that's stuck, and that's what makes the team so freaking cool from my end. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, have a good night, see ya in the team.